What is up, everybody? Doomasect, also known as Ramblin' Gamer, coming at you guys today with another episode of Kaiju Corner. Today we're going to be taking a little break from our usual reviews to talk about one of the most controversial Godzilla movies of all time, King Kong vs. Godzilla. So a few weeks ago, I decided to rewatch King Kong vs. Godzilla again. It's actually been a really long time since I last saw this movie, but this time I decided I was going to watch the film in said Japanese version. Also, at the time that this recording is being posted, you can find said movie right here on YouTube with English subtitles. Okay, now let's cut the crap and get to the main point of this video. I knew going into this movie that the Japanese version didn't have some alternate ending where Godzilla won. Honestly, I remember hearing this rumor when I was a kid, and for the life of me, I don't know where it came from. We didn't have access to the internet back then, so I think it's just one of those things that sort of pops up in every kid's mind. Kinda like Fire Godzilla and Ice Godzilla. It's just this unoriginal idea that we form thinking, oh, how could Godzilla ever lose to a lame monster like King Kong? That's actually one of the reasons I'm making this video, to help address two things. One, to help you get into the mindset of why they would ever make this movie. And two, how can a monster like King Kong ever have actually beaten the damn king of the monsters himself? Now, most people are extremely quick to point out when something is a quote-unquote ripoff of Godzilla. And yeah, it's hard to deny, there are a large amount of Godzilla clone movies out there. Some are very obvious, like Gappa the Triphibian Monsters. Others have went ahead and turned into their own completely different thing, like Gamera. What few seem to realize is Godzilla easily comes dangerously close to falling into this category. The inspiration for the original Godzilla can be traced to two films, King Kong and The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. Actually, the people who made the original Godzilla movie had thought about making it in claymation stop-motion film format, but that was deemed far too expensive and time-consuming. Thus, suitmation was used. And actually, most people don't realize that Godzilla wasn't even Japan's first big monster. There were actually two previous Japanese King Kong movies that are now considered lost films. So now here we have it, the monster that helped to inspire Godzilla, fighting against Godzilla. King Kong vs. Godzilla is actually Godzilla's third outing in his own franchise. It also needs to be said that even within his own film series yet, Godzilla was not being cast in the role of a good guy. That would take another 2 movies. In fact, by this point, Godzilla's record was kind of awful. I mean, he destroyed Tokyo, then got destroyed by an oxygen destroyer, and then a new Godzilla was discovered, and he battled Anguirus, so I mean, he got a win there, but then he got frozen in some ice by some airplanes, so that's 2 losses that Godzilla suffered, not even to monsters. Unless mankind is the real monster, and we need to stop polluting the planet or else dinosaurs will rise again. Anyway, what I'm getting at is that Godzilla was the bad monster from the get-go in this movie. Also, considering I wasn't born yet, nor did I live in Japan, I can't really say which one of these 2 monsters at the time had more star power. I mean, after all, this was Godzilla's 3rd movie. King Kong had already been around for 20 years at this point. There's also a very real mindset we need to be thinking about when it comes to the final outcome of King Kong vs. Godzilla. Yes, Godzilla loses the battle, but it's not like he died. In fact, we know this, since he went on to have an entire slew of new battles in the Showa series. And it should also be noted that Godzilla lost again in his next outing, Godzilla vs. Mothra, and that was to 2 newly hatched Mothra larvae. So now I hope I have you a little bit more in the correct mindset as to why the film was made and why King Kong won. But let's take another look into this and actually look at King Kong himself in this movie. First and foremost, This is not the original King Kong. The original King Kong is to this version of King Kong that Zilla is to Godzilla. The original King Kong gets killed by machine guns. This version of Kong isn't even fazed when a shitload of TNT goes off all around him. Not to mention each time he gets blasted by Godzilla's atomic ray, all it does is seem to singe a little bit of his fur off. The fact is, the original King Kong is nothing more than an overgrown gorilla, while this incarnation is actually far more of a true kaiju. We also have to take into consideration Kong's particularly unusual power to generate electrical currents through his touch. This actually gives him quite a nice little bit of power behind his grappling attacks, and honestly, if a modern day version of this movie were ever made, I would expect King Kong to fight along the lines of probably one of the Jaegers from Pacific Rim. In other words, lots of punching and grappling attacks, and hopefully not forgetting that you have a sword. The point I'm trying to get at is that this isn't your average incarnation of King Kong. Which leads me to my final verdict. Yes, Godzilla lost, but King Kong only needed to turn into an actual monster to do it. This does raise a good question though. Could Kong ever do it again? Honestly, I highly doubt it. Godzilla's really turned up the power since his third installment, and he's strong as all hell now with massive bulk and an atomic heat ray that can one-shot most of the kaiju he comes up against. I mean, I guess Kong could win, but he'd have to seriously turn into even more of a monster than he did before. I mean, unless they went all, Godzilla versus King Ghidorah on our asses, where Godzilla fights an organic King Kong, but then Kong loses and they revive him as Mechani Kong, and oh my god, make that happen. Anyway, guys, I've kept seeing comments pop up about this particular topic, and I figured I'd go ahead and make a video and hopefully help to shed some light on it. Also, if you like this kind of stuff, please subscribe. It would help me out a lot and tell me that you guys are definitely enjoying Kaiju Corner. And actually, if you want to go ahead and hit the thumbs up on this video, that tells me that you like this kind of video where it's just pretty much me rambling about something and not so much of a review. But anyway, until next time, this is Doomasect. Watch out for bears.